as an answer to the question which other moves you can make after you've exhausted all the other possibilities, but it doesn't really come to your mind immediately because there are so many other things you can consider. I have a feeling that despite it already being move 26, we could be in for a bit of time trouble.
Maybe we should exchange a time of pair of rooks here. Yeah, okay, start with rook b8.
A?
I think D. Rook b1.
Do we need to play rook b1?
Ah, okay, if we don't need to play rook b1, that's not a problem.
Do, okay.
Let's say we just take on b1, and here, at this moment, we play something like knight e7. And, okay, I don't know, it was a similar position, but with two more rooks.
Yeah, but now the b file is under white's control, so I have a feeling he actually has a slightly...
Yeah, it shouldn't be called an achievement for black.
Yeah, it's slightly easier life for
okay,
white.
let's say knight c8. Okay, it's too...
But even this...
Yeah, it's too slow and too strange.
You're allowing some counterplay for it.
I'm just playing too weak and too slow. Okay, what can I say?
So...
Ah, that's the difference, I think. So here we play rook b8.
Okay, rook b1.
Here we take.
Why don't we play... Okay.
And here we play bishop g7. Huh?
Yeah, that was... I thought that was your idea, to be honest.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe rook b5 is fine
yeah,
now,
rook b5, bishop f6,
takes?
ef6, I guess, yeah?
Probably yes. Okay. Or not. Anyway,
because if I take with the knight, this rook on a5 will be incredibly stupid.
I think we can also start with knight takes e5.
Oh yeah, that's also true.
But then
so
king d4.
ef6.
Okay, I don't know. I think here we can... Takes.
Take on a5.
With what?
A rook.
So I think I should give
King e2.
What is it? It's rook d to b8.
He did play rook d8, so... some version of this...
This is very unclear in game. This rook is bad.
King e2?
Maybe g2, no? Okay, I'll raise one.
Rook...
Okay, this pawn on a file is very strong. Especially it's good if rook will come off.
Yeah, if the rooks come off, white is doing excellently well here, but
yeah.
the rooks should not come off. Rook e8 or rook b8, I don't know.
But the rook endgame should be more or less fine, I believe.
Yeah, that probably is some kind of a draw. It takes, king d3. Rook e6 though. Black will press for a bit.
Yeah, black can
take on f6, you have to waste another tempo, probably on something like king e3.
Okay, not draw on spot at least.
Yeah, most certainly. Most certainly not. So
rook d to b8.
Is your idea completely out of the question?
But here now, I don't have this extra tempo.
e5 is not hanging, so we can actually keep the queen side.
Maybe it doesn't really matter. I don't know if we play bishop g7 here. I mean, this is just strange. Why should we give an exchange for?
Yeah, I think
for some shadow compensation.
It might be playable, but black has no actual need to do this. I think would be the.
We can also take with c pawn on before, yeah, and then play bishop c5 and to play this positionally. So
yeah, but once again,
c5, king b7,
once
c6.
again, is this a winning attempt?
It's not losing attempt, at least. So since we're not losing on spot, we can try to play for someone else. But I think
yeah,
here,
I don't know.
I think here this type of position black can never be worse. But
that's a large statement. I'm not sure I agree with that completely.
Okay, this king b7 and c6 is very
it's
natural.
It's
maybe
white
can pay no attention. So after cd5, we just take back to with cd5.
I don't know. King e4, king b7. It looks interesting for black, I have to say, because black now has everything under control, and once he plays c6, if you play knight e3, bishop comes to c5, there's pressure against this pawn. But it's a whole exchange on the other hand.
Yeah,
it's a risky way to continue.
Once again, I don't think this is going to happen in the game.
Yeah, I think after rook b1 something else is the plan for Vishy. Something I think connected with either bishop g7 or bishop e7.
Yeah, we can start with this, yeah, not to give away the b file. I mean, we can start with bishop g7, yeah, so...
Or bishop e7 even.
I don't know, bishop g7 is something what I like better.
Let's try bishop g7. Yeah, and the point is now we can't even try playing knight h5 because I can take on b1
and
the
just
e5
win a pawn.
Yeah, and the e5 pawn falls. And Magnus plays king e4, allowing rook b3.
But that's a bold decision.
That's but it's also very very consistent with the previous idea.
Okay, so once you played king e3, okay,
Yeah.
why not?
He was quite clearly heading towards that square, so he continues along the chosen path. And he now has more time than Anand. 28 for Magnus against 24 for
But I
Vishy.
think the next couple of moves from Vishy should follow fairly quickly.
So what do we
because
think? Rook b3 or is there anything else?
No, I think rook b3.
Rook b3, I play rook b1 now.
And I think we discussed this position, yeah? So just rook b8? It was something about king d3.
Yeah, we did discuss this, but apart from king d3...
Oh, it was a similar one.
Yeah,
not,
it was very
not particularly
but I think
this.
maybe I can take on a5, no?
But now also
That was what I
h3
was
is
going
hanging, yeah, okay.
to ask you. Rook h3 and let's say bishop c7.
Rook b1 is a threat, yeah.
Yeah, and rook b1 b6.
Suddenly.
Rook b1 b6 is a large threat here.
Yeah.
The king on e4 is not that easy to inconvenience.
Problem if we give it check, it will be a main, but I can't even give a check to this.
Yeah.
king.
Black has pretty much
Yeah,
two
okay,
moves
this
to
is
do
somewhat-
something. Well, you can play rook b3 and maybe you're still
Okay,
fine.
maybe
but
rook b3 wasn't necessary right now.
what
I can
else?
start with bishop g7.
But then why did we play rook b8?
Okay, why not? To put our rook to some promising position. I won't say very active, but okay, it's promising anyway. And okay, now I should keep in mind this rook b4 idea every time. But I think this bishop g7 or bishop e7 was more...
Yeah, I think
More interesting.
relinquishing the pressure along the d file so early makes White's life potentially slightly easier. Because now bishop g7, there's maybe no immediate threat, so...
I mean, in general, it's some kind of positional improvement for black if we take this piece on f6, and if we open this e file, the king on e4 is no more safe.
That
So
is
we
all-
can
this is perfectly true,
we can
yes.
create some mess around. So I mean, if we had black's move here, okay, just takes on f6 and play rook e8 and make
That's
white.
true, but...
And okay, white king shall surely suffer from this.
Despite the fact that it is now white to move, it's actually not that easy to make a
To improve
sensible move
significantly.
here with white.
Yeah, that's
Knight
true.
h5, bishop h8, f4. But we would just take, yeah?
Yeah, I think in general, if
Knight
you
f4, and we have to take with the king,
yeah,
unfortunately.
all this play doesn't really work well for white,
Yeah, and then
unless it's h4 and then f4. Because if you
Rook
start with
b4.
f4, wow, wow,
This is now very exciting.
come on,
And we have
Wow.
we have a bit of an answer to the question we discussed earlier. Vishy does not feel like leaving everything until game 12, because this is black's position was not worse. You did not have to do that.
do you really think it's the best moment to start with rook b4? I mean, there was something to improve.
It's a surprising moment, I have to say. Well, you take, because you can't really not take. Yeah, Magnus took about 20
so what
seconds
is
to take
this,
it.
c b4 or a b4? That's the question.
Yeah, I don't know.
A b4 is more solid, I must say, because after
He takes with the c pawn, and this is the structure you discussed.
okay, I thought
Because
black
this
shouldn't
is,
be worse here.
Yeah, this is a very solid structure for black, but
I'm confused, you know.
in order to create a single threat, he now needs two moves pretty much. He needs to play king b7 and c6 to
I'm very much confused about this.
put any pressure at all on the white pieces. Yeah, this is a bit of a strange moment for this sacrifice. It was sort of hanging in the air, the idea of playing rook b4, but we...
But first of all, I think, okay, we could wait for a better moment. And... Okay, once he played rook db8, maybe he just wanted to
No,
play
I
rook
think-
before
yeah,
after any move.
I
Maybe
think
that
rook
was-
db8 was just connected with this idea, and he decided, yes, that he will do this regardless.
Okay, that's interesting. And it's very much confusing to me, because... Okay, I don't know how he's going to improve. Because, by the way, okay, if white finds no way to attack something. Okay, after bishop c5 and c6, and let's say king goes back to b6. White only has some weaknesses, and I mean.
Well, it's an exchange. You can't really completely discount.
These exchanges can only work then some open files will appear.
That is true. The rooks are they have no entrance squares for now. The E1 rook is completely stuck. Well, not stuck, but I mean it faces the pawn on e5.
Yeah, and the current battle, I mean, the battle is not for the d-file. The battle is around e5 square, c5 square.
Yeah.
And okay, black pieces are slightly better prepared to all this.
Does it make any sense for white
clash.
to try and open the second front, so to speak?
Okay, I think.
Takes. The thing is, black will not take on c4. Black doesn't need to take on c4.
Okay, but taking on c4 loses a piece, so that's why black doesn't need.
But on the other hand, yes, we exchanged some pieces and we opened. Well,
Okay, maybe we can start try b3, but I mean this looks so strange. I can't really imagine that white won't have an option to give an exchange back and to equalize. I don't think
white
see a good plan for black here.
I don't actually think white needs to be equalizing here.
Yeah,
I think
that's so strange.
I think his position is.
Look at evaluation. I mean, just look at this.
Yeah, but once again, I would urge you to somewhat disregard this evaluation because white is a full exchange up and black has no direct threat. So of course the machine likes this for white. It would be shocking if the machine didn't. But I think the way to look at this 0.89 you see on your screen
that's unbelievable.
Is that in a position where black has no direct threats and is an exchange down, it only shows you 0.89, which means that this is not a particularly clear position at all. But it's a.
Okay, I'm really confused.
It's a startling choice because there were after king of 3 there were other options available to black which looked frankly quite attractive. Not that this is necessarily bad. And we kept on discussing this idea in almost every position, so we don't dislike it. We just both are slightly surprised that Vishy chose it at this particular moment.
It goes that immediately and not so greatly prepared. Okay, let's take a look.
But what do you do with
F4 is
white?
very logic. F4 is good, I think.
But maybe if you want to play f4, maybe you start with knight h5.
Maybe start with h4. How do you like this h4 move? It's a little bit crazy, but maybe it works.
Okay, I would.
And now f4. So we can take with knight and.
Yeah, but that was also my idea when I suggested knight h5.
We kick one of two bishops on the board.
Yeah,
This
once
might
again,
be important.
You cannot take on c4 because this pin is completely lethal. So yeah, I think I should give up on I should play something like knight g6 here, knight e6 fe, and now I have a pawn for the exchange at least.
At least.
And my position is still sort of, I keep things sort of under control here. But once the bishops start getting exchanged, it becomes more
let's say I play rook f1. So I think b3 doesn't work because of rook f3. It's
and rook b8, knight d7, yeah.
Yeah, knight d7 and maybe rook d8. Okay. Maybe it's not so obvious rook d8 here. So it looked like it doesn't work, but maybe it actually does. Maybe rook f6 right now. I don't know.
Cute. Rook f6 with the idea of rook d7, rook e6 check, and
and white is winning, I think.
Probably is, yeah. But once again, we're getting far ahead of the game. And knight h5 with a similar idea is also, I think,
it's
a
very fair.
Yeah, Erwin Lemies tweeted, not clear to me why Vishy did not go for bishop e7 takes f6 with a very substantial advantage. This is what we thought as well. We thought that the plan, choosing between bishop e7 and bishop g7 was a big question there. But one of those two moves, followed by trading that bishop off and then playing against the white weaknesses on the queen side, that looked very, very concrete and very, very appealing to both of us, I think, yeah?
Yeah.
So, the pressure is immense. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm already making excuses for Vishy, but you have to realize this is